friends, welcome back to my channel. I have been sort of slowly moving towards like a decluttering video, and I finally looked down at the bucket that I've just been putting stuff in as I've decided to declutter it. And when I finally went and put some final products in there, I thought like, ooh, we got enough to do a whole video. I'm not somebody who like sits down and just like declutters their collection. I am much more of like what I consider an organic declutterer. I tend to like try stuff out and then make a decision based on my trying it out. It's more of like a concerted trial and error process. And so based on that, I have some makeup products, I have a lot of nail stuff, and then I have a couple of hair care items. So let's go ahead and just do the hair ones, get them out of the way because they're relatively boring. So the two hair products that I'm decluttering are the same thing. They are both dry shampoos in a powder form from Forge Cookie Soap. I have this one called Chilly Nights, and then I have this one which is Zero. I've had this huge one for a very, very long time, and I have just found that my preferred methodology for dry shampoo is an aerosol spray. I just find it easier to work with. This is a little bit more effort and maintenance, and it makes me less likely to use dry shampoo. I'll definitely admit I'm not the biggest user of dry shampoo, so I don't have a lot of use for these, and I don't love the formulation, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of them. All right, let's move into makeup items. The first thing I have is a lip balm. It is the Indigo Acres Lip Mask from Fortune Cookie Soap. I'll just say, you guys probably know this, there are a ton of products from Fortune Cookie Soap that I love, but I don't seem to like their lip balm formulation. I don't know what it is, but I find that I really have to dig into the balm to get it to be somewhat emollient, and then when it's on my lips, the texture just feels very thin and slippy, and I don't love that. I am much more a proponent of those thicker types of lip products, especially if you're calling it a lip mask. My mind immediately goes to Laneige, and I wasn't expecting this to be an exact dupe, but like that's what I think of. I think of a very thick and emollient and juicy feeling product, and that's not what this is, and I don't want to mess with it. I recently pulled this out because it's the last potted lip balm that I have, and I'm getting super close to finishing up the Physicians Formula pot that I've been working on. So naturally I expected myself to want to pull out this because it is so large and it is in the same format, but I just don't care for it. So I would rather declutter it and get use out of another lip balm that I don't mind the formulation of that probably is older than this anyways. So even though it's rare, this is one of those categories of Fortune Cookie Soap that I just don't feel like I like the formulation of. And going forward, I probably will just declutter or pass on their lip balms without even trying them because they're just not for me. I have a sponge. Ooh, let me tell you, I feel like it takes a lot for me to dislike a sponge to just want to get rid of it and not at least use it for its full capacity or use it for 3 months. But it is a silicone coated sponge. I want to say it's called the Silly Sponge. I don't remember. This is one of those things that after those flat silicone pads were like a trend that I never wanted to get behind. I'm very much a sponge person. I'm not looking to convert. I tried brushes, and I feel like I've only been converted to a foundation brush when I'm using a stick foundation, which is the minority of foundations that I use. This is a tangent. We're gonna get back to the sponge. So when I saw this, I thought like, oh, this is a good merging of that silicone pad and a sponge, which I like, and the claims are that like it's less tear proof, it's going to help extend longevity of your foundation because you're going to need to use less, it won't get sucked up in the sponge, and da 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 da, and that'll be so great. No, I don't like this sponge because it doesn't absorb the foundation into it. So basically what was happening was I would go to pat it on my face and it wouldn't actually meld with my skin. And I was using it with foundations that I love, that I wear all the time with other sponges. So it wasn't the foundation, it was the sponge. And I just felt like because it couldn't help pat the product into my face, it wasn't giving me that more natural and mostly just evening of skin tone that I'm after. I'm someone who is fortunate. I don't have a ton of skincare blemishes or issues that I'm trying to cover up. It's mostly just like general redness this time of year because I'm just freckly and red all the time in the summer, and I'm really just trying to even out my skin tone. That's all I'm really looking for, and this just was bad news bears. It wasn't if I recall, it wasn't too expensive, which is unfortunate because it could have been good. With that said though, even though I despise this, I really have been loving the ColourPop sponge that has the like silicone core. It's not, at least it doesn't feel texturally like this. Like when I squeeze it, I don't feel the same like texture that I feel from this, but I really, really like this sponge. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure how much the silicone core is doing compared to a non-silicone core sponge, but I just like this overall. So it's not that I'm anti all silicone, I'm just anti coating it around my sponge. Ooh, I got a bronzer. I'm very proud of myself that we are reckoning with a bronzer. So we recently repressed the Balm bronzer that I've been trying to pan for an eon, and while I was waiting for that to dry, I was like, ooh girl, this will be a good time for you to test out one of your other bronzers. So I pulled out a bronzer that I used to really, really like from e.l.f. It's called the, I guess, just bronzer palette and warm. Probably not the right name, but it has the 4 colors that you swirl together. Again, I used to really like this. I actually wouldn't be surprised if I were to try to use this concertedly, if it wouldn't take me very long to hit pan, because that core section right in here is pretty thin, but it's a little too shimmery. I really appreciate the Balm, and I think this is very similar to Physicians Formula. I appreciate that it's more satin. It doesn't give you that run of like glitter or shimmer in it, but it's also not super flat. So there's a little bit of life in it, which I like, and it's not glittery life. This, to me, is more of a like glittery type of sheen that comes off of it, and I'm just not into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it. Again, I really used to love it, but my preferences have just changed. It's actually really nice that I'm letting this go because it's just is one less bronzer that is taking over my life, and I'm definitely much more of a creature of habit with bronzers. Once I find one, I wanna use it up, and I've got like 3 other ones that haven't been touched in a long time because I've been working on that Balm one for a very long time. I also am getting rid of a lip product. This was something that I brought in to my project pan for 2020, and I'm fairly confident I'm gonna forget to update you guys on this. I'm just gonna put it in here and then get rid of it. It is the Too Faced Sweet Peach Creamy Peach Oil Lip Gloss in Pure Peach. Tiny little guy. I wanted to bring this out because I've just been loving a bronzy eye lately, and this I think pairs really well with that type of eye look. But I think this has gone off on me because I applied it a handful of times, and within like 20 minutes, it was gone. It was fully off of my lips. I don't remember it doing that, and so it's just not worth it. Like, I want to work with and love the lip products that are currently in my stash that have good longevity, that don't feel like they're drying my lips out. So I think it's just time to part with this. It's unfortunate because I do like it, but correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they still make these. I think they got rid of these. Again, could be wrong on that, but I feel like they only had a short life in the Too Faced line. So that's kind of a bummer because I maybe would have considered purchasing a full-size one, but this one's gotta go. Before we move into nail polishes, I have 3 eyeshadows that are getting the boot. As you guys maybe recall, it's not gone super well this year, but I had a pocket of drugstore, what I consider palettes, like they're trios, quads, or some combination of a palette that I wanted to focus on this year. My intent last year was to do all of my eyeshadow and really go through those, but as the year progressed, it became evident that I only really had the ability to go through my full size or larger types of palettes. So I thought I would do So I decided to roll over the drugstore aspect into 2020. That has not been going super well, mostly because wearing makeup in general has really been on the downtrend for me because I've been home pretty aggressively since March. So most of 2020, I haven't been applying makeup 5-6 days a week like I normally would. But I decided to get back on the horse and try to do a series of looks not using my Project Pan palettes. And when I did that, I decided to declutter 3 of them. The first one is from NYX. It's Love in Paris. It's the Je ne sais quoi palette number 10. So this was like a whole line. I'm fairly confident I didn't purchase this. It came in I want to say an Ipsy bag. This, I feel like, in concept, was really cool. Like, it really is a full eyeshadow palette. It's very compact. It probably didn't retail for more than $10 at the time. But here's the issue. The shades don't really pack a punch. They come across as more satiny and really more like something I would put over other shadows. I don't have time for that. I'm not looking for eyeshadow toppers. And on top of that, these are pretty like generic shades. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I got a lot of them. So I personally would rather focus my time and energy on the same types of shades that are of a higher quality or better for my preferences, that also I spent money on, that I want to get value out of. And so I just don't feel like this is worth the effort, which is unfortunate because I like all the shades in here, but I got other eyeshadows to distract me with. The next two come from Avon. These came out right around the time that Milani launched their like tiny little, I don't know, I think there were like 4 or 5 shades in there. And I didn't want to purchase those because Avon I was attracted to at that time because they always run a lot of sales. So I could get the same, what I thought was the same kind of makeup from Avon for much cheaper. Case in point, there was this quad that very much reminded me of a Milani one that I wanted, but this was cheaper. This is called the Warm Sunrise, and it came from the True Color eyeshadow quad series that they did. I have decluttered, I think, all of them up until this point, but the 2 that I have withstood the test of time. I really wanted to like this. Like, I think this is a gorgeous color story, and it's kind of weird because I don't consider myself a warm eyeshadow person, but these are very warm. At least these bottom 2 are very warm, but I just don't find that they're very impactful. Like, you'll put it on and you'll put it on and put it on to really pack it, and then you blend it and it like dissipates. I'm all set with that. I would rather use, again, other shadows that I probably have similar to this that are gonna pack more of a punch, that I spent more money on, that I would just rather get use out of. The same story is true with the Romantic Mauves. Like, this is great. I pulled this out because I'm not gonna lie, a palette that has pulled at me this year that I keep coming back to, but I'm gonna keep resisting, is the Making Mauves from ColourPop. That shadow story is just right up my alley for cool tones, but I'm resisting. And I pulled this out to help me resist. It didn't quell it because, again, these are very soft on impact. They don't really do a whole lot on my eyes. And if they don't do a whole lot on my skin tone, that's not good. So both of these are being kicked out. The last thing that I have are nail polishes. I essentially go through phases, not with painting my nails, but I go through phases where I declutter my nail polishes, mostly through trial and error, sometimes through swatching. So at this point, I would say I have worn exclusively Impress nails. I think we're going on 2 years. I think it's 2. It could be 3, but definitely 2. I used to religiously paint my fingernails. It was one of the only ways that I could not bite or pick at my nails, and I am a hellacious nail biter and nail picker. It's very bad. But my struggle was that I don't have good nail beds, both from genetics and from biting my nails my whole life. So even when my nails would get long, they would be very delicate, not very durable. And then when I would paint them, it would be like I was painting my nails every other day because they constantly chipped. And for me, in my opinion, chipped nails make me feel like I look messy. I don't like that. If I'm gonna draw attention to my nails, I want it to be because they look nice, not because they look chipped and raggedy. So I basically only use my nail polishes for pedicures, and I bring them to a salon. I love getting pedicures. It's one of the few religious things I always do all year. So we have 4 that didn't make the cut because of pedicure trial and error. 2 come from Zoya. I would always find that Zoya nail polishes would be on super discount at Ulta. So like, I got this one for $4.99. I'm fairly confident I got this one for the same price. This is in the shade Song. It is this lovely, shimmery, metallic looking blue. Sadly, on your nails, by some magic wizardry, there's nothing metallic. Like, it just comes off as a generic, nice looking, glossy, dark navy color. I got a lot of those. Don't need to have this. I wanted it for the shimmery metallic. I love metallic toes. P.S. This doesn't make the cut for that reason. On the flip side, I have this from the Pixie Dust line, which is in Sheeta? I don't know if I'm saying that right. This, gorgeous. Love the glitter running through here. I ended up not liking this because the way it reads on my toes was just straight silver. It came across as a silver because there's so much silver glitter encased in here that when you look at it when it's shining, that's all you see. You don't really read the green, and that's not what I'm after. So this one also getting the boot. The other two come from Julep. I have this one, which is called Elsa Boho Glam 2014. This is like a nice lavender, pale lavender color that has some soft glitter up close. Same as that Zoya one, it just comes across as glitterless. And I don't like that. I want that nice shimmer, and I don't just love a pale lavender on my toes with no shine, so it's out of here. And the other one, same story. This is the Julep Yvonne It Girl from 2018. What doesn't make sense to me is that you look at it here and you see that it has this like sheen to it, but then they labeled it matte. I don't understand. The swatch, if you can pick that up, I don't think you're gonna be able to. There you go, there's a swatch. The swatch doesn't make it look matte. I just want the tone of this. I don't think it really popped, and I want my toenails to pop. I want you to notice that I've got toenail polish on. I feel like this would have been good for hands, but I don't paint my fingernails, so it's out of here. Essentially, the rest of these I'm getting rid of because they either take too many coats to get a nice opaque color, or they're repeat shades. I was somebody who would like convince myself I was buying a shade that wasn't already in my collection, and it was false. This one, for example, I literally had two of. It's from the Star Wars The Force Awakens CoverGirl collection. This is in the shade Emerald Blaze. I have two of these, literally the exact same shade. It's gotta go. I've got this one, the 60 Seconds Rimmel Night Before. Got like 100 of these metallic-y purple shades. Don't need it. I've got a bunch of like this tealy shade, and I don't really love Essie nail polishes. I tried super hard because they were all over YouTube. Everyone used to rave about them. I don't love the formula. This is in I'm Addicted. Got another CoverGirl one. Again, I had an exact one of this. This is the CoverGirl Outlast Stay Brilliant Gloss Teenies in Violet Flicker. Can I just say, much like bronzer, blush, and highlight, I love a mini nail polish, because how often do you use a nail polish? Very, very few times. This, oh man, I went through a super like heavy fingernail polish effects phase. This was the Maybelline Color Show Street Art. This is in Blue Beets. This was trying to compete with Sephora when they made that big investment in their Sephora nail line. I liked this for a while, but I don't paint my fingernails anymore, and I'm not gonna put this on my toes. Oh, I've got this one. This is the OPI Nail Lacquer. This is from their 50 Shades of Grey collection. This came in like a little sampler. Again, love that. But this just came across as black. It just looks black. It really, when you look up close, it is like a dark gray, but it doesn't read that way on your toes or your nails. So that was disappointing to me. Another OPI one. This is the You Blew It. This requires like 100 coats for it to look like this. Don't have time for that. Then there is the OPI, This Color's Making Waves. Love this. What you can't see on camera is that this has bronze glitter running through it, and I just don't prefer that, and I have a lot of teals that are similar to this, so I just got rid of it for that reason. Oh, I'm getting rid of this Setcha Veet Dry Fast Top Coat because it is hard inside there. It's never good. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. This is one of the Sephora Formula X. I don't even know if they still have this line. This was a huge deal when they came out with it. This is in the shade Voodoo. Just didn't like the tone of this. Similarly, I have Nails Inc. London in Rainbow Wishes. This requires so many coats to come somewhat close to this. I'm not gonna do it. Don't love this one. It's from Sinful Colors. It's Sinful Shine with Gel Tech in the Limelight. I just not looking for green mattes these days. Last one that I have is from Sally Hansen, Hard as Nails Extreme Color in Jazzy Jade. Again, I have this color in a bunch of different lines, and it was either a China Glaze or an OPI that I chose to keep over this one. Alright guys, that is it for me and this round of declutter. I hope that you enjoyed seeing all the items that I am saying goodbye to. If you've tried any of these, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next video.